I sometimes it takes seeing a video to realize that you're not so new to the industry anymore, and you've got years of experience playing with microphones and mixers and gates and limiters and outboard gear and authentic instruments that are not computer generated. I don't sit behind the computer and make beats. I grab a guitar, get behind a drum set, and record instruments. A lot of us are trying to do that. A lot of people are new and they're starting out and they don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that I've learned over the years that can be passed on to other people. I was going to react to a recording hacks that actually work kind of thing. And then I realized after I watched the video and reacted to it that I've been doing this the whole time because it's something that I saw years ago that works really well. Guy turned around and he multi-tracked different microphones for room mics. He hung 2 microphones in the room and played an acoustic guitar, recording it. Now, I understand people do this. They'll grab their acoustic guitar and they'll put a microphone right up to the acoustic guitar sometimes. Either that or they'll use the room ambience to have a natural effect or room effect to their playing. I play metal and rock mostly, so I'm hooked to the Randall stack. I've got effects. I've got a Scarlet 18i20 that I have been using for 5+ years. I think there's an unboxing somewhere on the channel from way back. So yeah, it's one of the first pieces of gear. The first piece of gear I got was a 2i2 Scarlet, and it was the bundle. So I got the microphone, the headphones, which I still use the headphones. Years and years and years later, I still use the headphones. I still use the microphone. It's a condenser microphone, and it works really well on the bass amp. I've got it recording the 10-inch speakers on the bass amp. Now, this is the boom for the microphones, and when I record the bass, because the bass signals are a longer wave, you move the stand back to about where the ESP is. And then you get a really, really good signal. The condenser microphone picks up all 4 10s mixed, and then I've got a dynamic kick mic down below that picks up the 15-inch sub. It works really, really well. As you can see on the Randall, I've got the microphone up top, which is the top microphone is an Audix F12, and the bottom is an SM57. Now, I also use kick mic. Kick mic is a DTP 340 Rex Lewitt. That is the cheaper. You get the more expensive one, you get even cooler sounds out of it, but they all make different sounds. All these different microphones pick up different frequencies a little bit differently. So a good mix of microphones will give you a well-rounded sound. We're going to record. Now, I use Adobe Audition for my DAW. I know it's not a very common one, but it works really well for what I need it for. I mainly use it for recording music and stuff like that. I've got endless amounts of 64 tracks I can record. My mixer only goes up to 26 channels. So, yeah, I can record a lot more than I need. I can lay down all kinds of tracks. The reason I went with an 18i20 is because I'm recording drums. It wasn't because I was recording guitars. The 2i2 gives you 2 inputs, so you can technically record 2 different microphones off of the 2i2. So for a cheap cost, you can get 2 different microphones recording off of 1 amplifier. You can surround that whole speaker. Different locations on the speaker will also change how the sound is received. So you can fine-tune your microphone just by moving it around the speaker to find out that sweet spot that gives you the best sound that you're looking for. A lot of what I have is static. It never moves, so I can set it and forget it. The distance off of the gear that your microphone is also has to be really, really close to the same to all microphones. You can't have microphones staggered off of the speakers, because then you will get different latencies and the signal will not get picked up at the exact same time, and it'll make the sound almost like a stereo chorus. And in essence, it really is creating a stereo chorus because you're blending 3 different sounds at 3 different times. You don't get perfect harmony in the signal, and you're trying to get a signal received on your DAW that all are in the same time. Now we have, haven't used this since I got the new computer, so it's actually got to get set up. As you can see, we've got multiple different tracks. Go to the mixer and add tracks. But for right now, go in and we set it to mono 1, put 4. We'll do all 6. 5, 6. That. Now, on the 18i20. So now we can run off the mixer onto the 18i20. We have 6 tracks. That means we can record 6 different microphones. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up 6 microphones on this guitar amplifier, show you where all the different locations are and which microphones we're using. And then we're going to show you how we can blend them all together using left and right hand recording and get a full mixed track off of one single recording and all kinds of different tones and variances within one single recording. This is all through outboard gear. This is all through outboard gear. This is not using amp sims. This is not using any kind of simulated anything. This is all outboard gear, pretty much direct. At this point in time, I'm not even using compressors, limiters, or gates. We're just going to run raw signal so that you can hear the raw signal. And then we're going to mix them all together on Audition and show you how the difference sounds. Turn around, one recording, one take, be done with it. All kinds of different effects that you can add to it later, especially if you're using DAWs with add-on effects like guitar amps and cabinets and, I mean, even distortion pedals and stuff. You can reamp these things and change it a little bit just by adding new kinds of effects. But that's totally different than what we're trying to do now. Right now, we're playing with multiple different microphones because most people don't have 2 of the same microphone. If you're going to have multiple microphones, it's because you're either upgrading or you just got something new. I know I have multiple microphones because of the drum set, but I also know that I started out with a cheap Rockville set of microphones that was a complete set. And then afterwards, I upgraded. Each one of these microphones is roughly $100 to $150. So keep that in mind. These are not $20 microphones or even $50 microphones. These are all roughly $100 to $150 a piece. So you got to save your pennies. The 18i20 versus the 2i2, it's all in application. If I'm going out someplace, I'll take the 2i2 because it's small and mobile. The 18i20 is the workhorse. The thing barely ever gets shut off. Even at night, it stays on. I don't turn it off. I typically don't turn my speakers off. So the monitors in the 18i20 are pretty much constantly running, and the thing is a workhorse. The ADAT did go out 4 years in, but it's also been worked really hard. So I had a Personas at one point that had the 18 to 20, and I couldn't get drivers for it to work because PreSonus stopped updating the drivers for that model. That's one of the reasons that I went with the Scarlet, because Scarlet actually seems to be keeping with the updates at least. We'll find out as time goes, because I'm going to end up having to replace this 18i20 here in the near future because it has gotten to the point where it's being problematic. The ADAT stopped working. The headphone jacks for headphone 1 and 2, the knobs are screwy, so you bump the knobs or something like that, and they start doing weird things. Little things that can get really annoying if you needed them all the time. I don't use headphones very often, so I don't really notice it. And when I put the headphones on, I'm usually got stuff cranked up loud, so it works like it's supposed to. All of the used gear that I've bought because I got on a gear kick is problematic. So save your pennies and buy the gear new. There is also the option of getting a mixer that you can record off of each channel direct. You can have 32 channels or 18 channels or whichever mixer you get. The Zune, I was looking at the Zune 18, I think it is, and it's got 18 channels. You can record directly to the computer off of each channel. You don't have to worry about auxiliary sends and having enough room and ADATs and everything else. Now, if you're getting into recording 24 channels or something like that, and you need the extras, then yeah, you can run the ADATs and the piggyback systems and stuff like that. But that's not this video. This video is pretty much check out what happens when you turn around and mix different microphones in one recording and the effects that you can get just off the microphones. All right, we're going to show you how we've got the individual mics set up and go from there. We're pretty much set up, ready to record. I've got all 6 mics hooked up. You can see the AT2020 is picking me up talking into this microphone, although it's behind me. So that shows you how sensitive condenser microphones are, because I've actually got it turned down pretty well and it's still picking everything up. So it's going to be interesting when we run guitar. It's not looking right. It's not looking right at all. Back to the mixer. Now that was just moving things around on the mixer so that I get all the sounds balanced. Now that I've got them balanced, we can go back to trying to record again. Still not a hot signal at all. We can try turning up the 18i20 outputs. Okay, that was moving the knobs on the 18i20 to get just that little bit of extra balance out of it. Let's try again. Now you can see it's a lot hotter signal, so you got to get this stuff dialed in. Once you got it dialed in though, you're set. Now we can mess with the different microphones individually. All right, so now that we've got our 6 tracks, turn around, see how they sound. See how that's peaking? Pull that back so that it's not peaking anymore. We can adjust the volumes of each individual if we wanted to. This time, what we're going to do, this is the hot signal. We've got our other 2 signals that we're not going to use. Go away. Let them all out. First one, this is the F12. Very hollow. That's the SM57. That's the AT2020. PGA56. Lots of mids, not much for highs. That's the 340 Rex. .604 Sennheiser. Now, unmute. Just how they sound by moving. Although we turned around, add a little extra air, but just because we turned around and we balanced them 3 times does not mean that they're going to be balanced. So yeah, this is your final mix. You add more air, take air away. Hear how each one changes it just a little bit. Come on. Make it go away. Bring it up to where you want it. And this is something that you can play with all day long. Moving to different ones, mixing, taking ones away, adding other ones. This is all stuff that you can mess with for weeks upon weeks to find something that you like. Let it roll. You don't have to use all of your microphones. This is an example. It shows the differences between the microphones, and it also shows the differences on how combining the microphones helps. Now, you can even turn around and pan. Take your little pan thing here. And you can pan full left, full right. And really mess with people because you can let certain ones turn around and, turn one on, turn one off, and mix them together. Have one go to the right, one go to the left, other one have it centered mono. There's so many different options just with the guitars. And then you turn around And on top of this, if you have your basic DI signal, you can do whatever you want with effects too. This was just a regular standard metal zone pedal, my Randall amp, and 6 different microphones. So by blending the different microphones, you can completely change how your signal sounds. As you heard before, each one has its own tone, and when you start blending them, oh man, yeah, you get some really, really interesting sounds. My go-to on the Randall amp, that the microphones that are always in front of it, are the SM57 and the F12. That would be just the first two. And you can hear F12's got a decent sound to it, but when you mix it with the SM57, you get a really cool sound. The only extra bonus that I really like adding to it is the Rex. You can even see, you see on the side here. Oh. You can see here where the levels are. So you can bring one level up, bring one level down, mess with this, mess with that. Like I said, this is something you can screw with for hours, dialing in and tuning in. I really like the 604 added on top of it. I might end up getting another one. Then again, that's the F12 and the 604. That's the 604 by itself. You really let the bass mic take over some too. This is no EQ, this is raw signal too, so this is just messing with microphones. This is not messing with equalizers or any of that. So yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can do just with microphones. That's raw signal through the mixer. You watched me dial it in with the Scarlet, with the mixer, the program, and all of that. It's pretty much from there how you want it to sound. Different microphones are going to make a huge difference. You got an example of the different microphones and what they sound like and what happens when you start blending them all together. Now, I do understand that the speakers in the cabinet, that's an angled speaker. That's a straight speaker, and the two on the bottom are straight speakers. They're not angled speakers. So they're going to make different sounds. The two cabinets are 2 different year model cabinets. One's got a white placard, one's got a chrome placard. So I do not know if the speakers internally are different aside from year manufacturer. Not something I've looked to confirm or deny. I'm just going off the sound that I'm getting and what I like. This is a good hack. If you want to play with stuff, you don't really want to screw around with EQs, you can go back after you mix these together and totally fine tune it with the EQ. You can crush it and compress it. You can throw your limiter on there. You can do all kinds of different stuff. Like I said, this is raw signal from the speakers to the mixer. No compression, no EQ, no none of that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope this helps you guys out. Remember, none of these were extremely expensive microphones. The more money you put into a microphone, the better it's going to sound to a point. Every microphone has its frequency that it works between. So go online, find demos, see if you can figure out which ones you like. I went after the Rex after I did some serious research because Shure's got kick drum mic. Everybody's got good mics. It's all what you're looking for specifically. A lot of the mics that I get are for drum purposes. So recording with the guitar is an afterthought, but the drum mics work wonderful as guitar amp microphones. I would love to get my hands on some Earthworks stuff. That's way down in the future because that stuff's way expensive. But I'd like to see how Earthworks stuff works compared to the cheaper stuff when it comes to miking up a guitar cab. Use what you got for anything that you can. If it's going to work, it's going to work. We'll get into recording bass cabinet in another video because that's going to be something interesting too. We can use all kinds of different microphones on the bass cabinet and get all the different frequencies. So stay tuned for that. We will be working on that down the road. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, comments, let me know what you guys think. We're going to close this one up. Have a great day. We're going to go back over. We'll put up the different microphones and the different sounds that they make so that you guys have a reference also. I appreciate everybody. You guys have a great day.